So let's go back to that set of 8 that we've been doing. So we just spun the ball side to side. The next one is a new one. We're going to do that big heart-shaped breath again, but then put our hands on our back. Then I'm going to dip my chin in each vertebrae, one after the next. Then I'm going to try to slide my hands down the back of my legs as far as I can go. When I can't go any further, I let the arms dangle. Then I bend my knees and I reverse. One vertebrae at a time, straightening up, finishing with the head straight ahead again. Now there's breaths with that, obviously. Don't hold your breath, because I didn't say to breathe. Never just hold your breath. But if I give you a pace, it just gives you an idea where. So inhale here, exhale. So now I got my shoulders kind of pinned back, my chest is wide open. Inhale again, and then as I bend, I'm going to let the breath out. Each vertebrae bending. Get to the bottom, let your arms dangle free. Now if I'm looking at my feet, that means I have tension on my neck. So I'm going to let the top of my head point straight down so as to take the tension off the neck. Shift the weight side to side, left to right. Square up so you're equal weighted. And then again, one vertebrae at a time until we come back up. Now if you can't reach the ground, don't worry about it. You do what you can. But eventually, just the weight of your upper body is going to help stretch all the muscles, the vertebrae, your hamstrings are going to stretch, the calves, good release of tension. So let's try it a couple more times, and then we'll move on. So here, inhale, exhale. And dip your chin first, and then each part, the upper back, the middle, lower back, top of your head points down. Bend each knee side to side so you kind of stretch more your back and your hamstrings. And now my hands are going to glide up my shins, up the knees, the thighs. When I get to the top right here, I'm going to breathe out again, locking my knees and elbows. So there's always more to add on. There's always little extra things to do. Keeps our minds active. Inhale, exhale. Inhale. Dip your chin first, and then let each vertebrae follow. Exhaling as you bend. Arms dangle free, top of your head points down. Shift your weight side to side. Touch your shins, your knees, your thighs, up to the hips. Another deep breath. Lock your knees, lock your elbows, push your stomach back to let the breath out. All right, next exercise. Come back to the ball. Big ball spinning. Get to the opposite hip, opposite shoulder. Bottom hand comes up. I try to touch the ceiling, try to touch the ground, keeping my back straight up and down. And then relax. So whenever I say relax, that usually means just let the tension go. So I have this big ball again. I'm going to spin to the right. Opposite shoulder, opposite hip. Round your back. Your back will straighten with the arm coming up. Inhale. Exhale. That's all fine. The last thing, I'm going to dip my shoulder again. Chin towards the right. Eyes look at that top hand. Relax. Come back to the ball. So my arms are somewhat bent. My knees are bent. Time to spin it the other direction. Here's that turtle back I was talking about. When the back is totally rounded, call it turtle back. Inhale. Stretch up, push down. Exhale, let the tension go by bending a little bit. Dip your shoulder. Try and look towards that top hand again. And then straighten back. So as you're doing these things, your body should be talking to you. You should be saying, okay, maybe my one side is better than the other. Maybe my back doesn't like this. You have that dialogue, and you should be thinking about what your body's telling you. So now that I switch directions, you don't know which side we're on, right? It doesn't matter, because you'll do both sides. So I got my thumb facing forward. My other thumb faces towards my hip. Push away from the center of your body. And then relax. Let the knees bend, let the arms bend. Whichever hand is up, I'm going to lean away from that. I'm trying to get my chin towards my shoulder, my eyes up towards that hand, and then back to the circle. So I'm not going to turn around yet so that you just do the opposite side. Otherwise, I'll mix you up again. So I spin the ball around the back. Do a little shift side to side. You can feel more stretch when you do that. One hand up with my thumb forward. Other hand with the thumb by my hip. Push away. And take the tension off by bending a little bit. Dip your shoulder. Turn your chin, your head. Try and look at that top hand. And then we straighten up. Come back to the ball. So many of the exercises are all about shapes. You can relax for a moment or so. It's shapes, straight lines, angles. There's a lot of geometry, which is great because I'm a graphic artist and drafter. So over the years, I was doing this when I was 16, and I started doing drafting. It just made sense how it all connected together. And if you think about over the years, how do people relay things onto the next to be able to remember it? They tell stories or draw diagrams, manuals and things. This is a little more current, but years ago they would do it with poetry. The Chinese would tell stories that went along with the movements, and that's how they came up with a lot of the colorful movements. This is heaven and earth divided, or there's so many different names of all the different exercises, but they had the poetry with them. So, and this is King. I'm trying to think. That's King pounds the mortar. You do this. It's very unique names. I didn't learn all those that way, so I don't make people try to remember that too. It's a little easier sometimes just to explain it. So anyway, let's go back onto the next exercise. The circles are all around in these movements though. So now I have the horse stance again, a little bit wider if you can. I'm going to make the circle above, palms together. Gently push the hands together, let your hips drop. And then come up, let your arms go forward. Now I'm going to twist my torso as much as I can, keeping my hands together. When they start to pull apart, it's going to be like I'm drawing back a string on a bow. When I get to here, my right hand's a fist. My other hand, just keep the fingers together. Shoulders bend, elbows bend, knees and hips bend. And then slowly back up again. We'll do the same thing on the other side. So you got this big circle with a big inhale. Exhale. And always feel free to take more breaths if you need to. Reach forward, gently twist like a spring. Now I'm left-handed, pulling back the bow. One hand's a fist, the other hand, fingers together. Sink down. Now as far as you go down, you got to come up the same speed. Back to where we started. Now if that's fine, we're going to add another thing with the hands here. Breathe out. When I come to this spot here and I start to draw back, this hand is going to be a fist. This hand, I make two fingers go out. The other two fingers I cup with the thumb. And then sink down. Same thing like we just did. So now we got to think of two things at the same time with our hands. Inhale. Exhale. Reach forward, twist like a spring. Try to make the hand gesture at the exact same time. One's a fist, one's two fingers, and sink down. Slowly back up. Let's do one more, and then we'll go on to the next exercise, and we'll take a break. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Same time with the hands. Exhale. Slowly back up. Next one, our feet are in the right spot. You're going to sink down, put the thumbs on the outside, fingers on the inside. Round your back as much as you can, that turtle position. A little shift side to side. And I come up, I'm going to arch, horseback. Arch your back the other direction. And then back down, dip your chin, round your back. So there's a deep inhale with this as you come up, inhale. Come down, exhale. If that's all fine, I come up the same way, inhale. When I come down to exhale, I try to bring my left shoulder to my right knee, and then back to the center. Inhale, left side, exhale. And if that's fine, we're going to look over the shoulder at the same time. So here I'm up, twist, try and look to the back of the room over your shoulder. So now the neck has to go a little further. Inhale. exhale. Look over your left shoulder. Next thing, if you can do all that, I'm going to shift my weight to the right side and then twist and then look over the shoulder. Square back up, inhale. Left side shift, exhale, try to look over the left shoulder. So once again, your body should be telling you stuff, whether it's tight, or maybe it feels good, feel like you're releasing some tension. Others might feel like your neck don't like it. It's all up to you to kind of decide how far you can go with it. Let's finish this one up. We'll shift to the right again. Take that big deep breath and kind of a quick exhale, followed by another deep breath with a little slower exhale. One more, deep. Even slower with the exhale. So what I meant with that last part about you deciding what you need to do, think of these exercises like a volume control on a radio. And you decide if you like it at 3 or 4 by how wide you go, how low you go, how far you twist. That's the volume control. And you have to know what you feel comfortable with. Don't just turn up to 10 because you see me going down to here. You know, that's a 10. You know, don't just, oh, Jim did it, I'll do it. Go by what you feel comfortable with. And then next time we do another repetition, go a little further if you like, or back off, whatever the case may be. Anybody have any questions? It all makes sense, right? Why don't we take a little break, and then we'll come back and do that other set that we've been working on. In case you haven't figured out, I try to keep the method that I teach very fluid, very comfortable. Most times people don't ask questions. I hope it's not because they don't feel that they can. Hopefully it's just that I'm explaining what we're talking about and it makes sense. But you know, please feel free to ask questions and comment if you need to. Years back when we had martial arts schools, me and my partners, sometimes we'd be in a group setting like this and you'd have someone always be heckling. Not looking for any heckling. It's, you know, if it's productive for the class, that's good, but I don't think anybody here is in that frame of mind at all. But please feel free to ask questions if you do have something that doesn't make sense or you can't see what I'm doing. You know, find a better spot. It's not like we have assigned spots here. You know, my other class the other day, there was a woman and she was all the way up in front of me over on this side. And here I'm talking to the group and everything. I'm like, she's out of my peripheral vision. You know, but that was a good spot for her because she could see my front side a little bit as we were doing it. So, anyway, let's move on to the next thing that we've been trying to do. This is the Chen style. It's got a longer name, but I'm not going to go into that now. Just Chen style Tai Chi. We'll go past the first 4 steps that we've been doing today. So to begin, as we would start most of these exercises, you have your feet somewhat close together, a little bit apart's fine, arms at your side. I'm going to take a deep breath this first time, just to get the oxygen to the body, relax. Kind of like preparing me for the next thought here, what we're going to do. I'm going to bend both knees and shift my weight to the right side so as to make a half circle. And then I get my weight kind of centered over both hips, both legs, back to the center position. That's the first step. Then my arms come up, and then my wrist, my elbows, my shoulders relax. As my arms drop, my hips, my knees, my ankles bend. And then we straighten up a little bit. So we'll do like as far as we've gone, and then we'll go over a little bit more with it. So now I hold the ball up in front of my chin. My other hand is if I'm holding the ball on the side away from my face. And then I gently twist my upper body to the left. Once I get to here, I spin the ball around so my hands switch. I shift my weight, and now my right side turns. And then my foot goes with the hands. Now I shift my weight to the right, my other foot comes across. Anybody remember the name of that position? That's a cat stance, yeah. So I'll periodically say horse stance or cat stance just so you kind of have an idea, but most of my weight is on my back foot, so I could do this little scratch here with the front. And then my hands were on the side here, so now my hands are going to come kind of like down the wall. One hand is up, the other hand is down in front of my knee, and then I take a little step forward. I shift my weight from my right forward to my left. And that's about as far as we've gone so far. So we'll do it a few more times up to there with a little detail and where we should breathe and so forth. So feet close together, deep relaxed breath. Let all your tension dissolve away as you breathe out. So now when I sink down, I'm trying to look forward as opposed to looking at my foot each time. I'm trying to look and feel where my foot's supposed to go. A little shift side to side. Inhale, like a wave going from top to bottom. And come down and breathe out. Now you're going to notice the waves either go from top to bottom or from side to side. So now it's like the wave goes to the left, flip the ball, shift your weight. And now the wave travels to the right. I slide my foot in front. Now, not only do my hands come down, but I'm going to lift my leg up. If you can, good. If not, just keep your foot close to the ground. My hand comes down, my foot comes down. Hand up, hand down, step with the heel, shift forward. So by the time I finish this, I had 70% of the weight here. Now I'm going to have 70% on my front foot. When I do this position, this is called a bow stance. I want to try to keep my knee over my ankle. Years ago, I could get my knee over my toe. I could get all the way down to here. This side's a little looser. That's good. That's flexibility. When you're younger, you can get away with it. As we get older, the alignments are a lot more crucial. Your body does not like some of those angles. So like I was talking about earlier, angles and geometry. If you keep your knee over your ankle, you can drop from your hips. And that way you don't put a lot of strain on the knee joint, but it still gets strengthened. When we do that exercise this way here, you only have so much strength side to side because there's no muscle mass there. Your knees, this is what we need to do. To make our knee stay strong, we stay in this position and maybe various angles from here, a little bit lower. And that puts strength into the muscle where the knee attaches, the quadricep attaches to the knee, the patella. But side to side, don't do it. Your knees don't like that. There's nothing there. So when I did that last movement where I step forward, my knee stays the same direction as my toes. On my back foot, my foot turns on an angle because that's the direction my knee bends. All right? Let's try it again from the beginning. We'll add a little more. And breathe in and breathe out. So the wave goes from the right to the left and then settles in between. Waves at the top, working its way down. The wave comes up, goes to the side, flips over, the weight shifts. Now the right foot moves with the upper body. Weight comes across. If you can lift your leg, I'm going to let this back leg stay more bent so as to keep my center of gravity a little bit low. And then the hands come down with the arm. As I turn my hand up, I step forward with the heel, shift the weight forward. Okay, next exercise, I'm going to shift back so I can pivot this left foot. My knee and my foot go the same way. Here's that cat stance again with my hand in front. So I'll give you a side view. I was just here. I shift back. So most of the weight is here. It's easy to turn that front foot. So I turn it to the outside so as to get me ready to do this. All right? And that's like you're offering somebody a pear, an apple, fruit of your choice. There's so much symbolism. All the steps, there's something there, whether it's a self-defense movement or it's something graceful in nature. There's always something there. There's no, let me say it again. There are no needless movements. You don't just move to move. Always something attached to it.